Hey, what's up guys? Zach here, and today we are talking about 3 common mistakes people make when programming drums. Let's dive right in. Okay, so the first mistake people make is not properly articulating MIDI velocity. This is the number one issue with programmed drums. Not properly articulating your MIDI velocities will lead to stale, robotic, and amateur sounding productions. This issue goes beyond simply loading a tool that'll randomize the velocities. You really need to go in and do it note by note to capture the nuances and characteristics of a live drummer's performance. It helps if you have a drummer, or you are a drummer, or know how to play drums. That way you can sort of visualize how the drummer might play the part that you are programming. Let's take a look at a few MIDI articulations we can do to fix this robotic sounding drum part. Okay, so very robotic. The first thing we want to do is change our cymbals. The cymbals can be fairly dynamic, and should be fairly dynamic. The kick and the snare, for the most part, are going to stay pretty much at maximal velocity. However, when there are multiple snare hits or kick drum hits in quick succession, you're going to want to play with their velocities, so lowering them, because obviously the drummer can't maintain maximum velocity if they're playing very fast notes. Also remember to alternate the note velocities. So the notes on the off beats, those should be lower than the on beats, and similarly the first hits will also usually be louder than the second hit. So I've gone ahead, these are 2 snare hits here I've reduced, and you just sort of got to take the time and work through it manually. And then as you finish programming sections, go back, listen to those sections, and tweak the velocities again. Notes where the drummer is playing a crash or hi-hat and snare simultaneously will usually be louder than if they're just playing them separately. Drummers have a tendency to play louder when they're playing 2 drums simultaneously. And then this double kick drum here, I'm going to bring it down a lot because obviously the drummer is going to lose some of their power when they're doing faster double kicks. And same for this part here. So let's take a listen to this roll, for example. You'll notice in particular that rolls are more sensitive to velocities. So let's go ahead and play it before we did any velocity adjustments. Sounds a little bit more human, like someone was kind of playing that. And for some parts that are kind of very quick and repetitive, what you can do is randomize the velocities a little bit using a logical editor inside of Cubase or a similar tool in your own DAW. So I'll just go ahead and set it relative to the random values in between 15 and minus 15. Okay, so that's the velocities of our drum part done. The second drum programming mistake people make is playing more than 4 kit pieces simultaneously, or playing kit combinations that would be impossible or extremely difficult to play in real life. Some examples of impossible drum combinations are hitting multiple kit pieces while in a snare or kick drum roll, crashing on more than one cymbal while accenting a snare hit, anything with double kick while the hi-hat is opening and closing on beat, hitting 3 toms or 3 shell pieces simultaneously, and playing the hi-hat during a fill. So let's go through our drum part and see if there's anything that stands out as being particularly difficult or impossible to play. That flam seems kind of tough to do at the end of that roll. Let me see. No, that's definitely playable. See, this whole part was programmed by my drummer in my band, and whenever he plays live, he's pretty much playing the exact same thing that he's programmed, so he's not going to program something that he can't play on his drum kit. Well, it looks like everything's playable. A little bit difficult, but definitely doable on drums. So that's good. Let's move on to the third and final point of common drum programming mistakes. And the third one is not utilizing off-grid positioning with cymbals or hi-hats for dynamics. Now this one is tricky to do because it can be very subjective when it comes to timing of kit pieces based on the musical genre you're working in, the style of drums, and it's easy to make your drums go from being on the grid and in time to being off time and sloppy instead of, humanized. So the parts you're looking to play with positioning are mostly cymbals. You can do shells during fills. That can make the fill a little more interesting, but generally for the kick and the snare during the actual beat, so whatever's driving the beat, those should pretty much be to the grid, especially in modern metal music where you're looking to get that wall of sound, and having everything locked into the grid is very important in achieving that. So let's just go through and I will start with the cymbals. Generally speaking, if you've started to drag the cymbals or hi-hat behind the beat, for that section, keep most of the hi-hats behind the beat. Try not to put them forwards and backwards, as that'll become a little bit confusing. Again, you can use a logical editor to change the positioning slightly. So I'm going to go ahead and go minus 25, 25. Move that a little bit on and off the grid. You can play with fills a little bit. You got to be very careful though, because again, you'll make the part very confusing very quickly. It's too much. Just like 5, minus 5. Just a little bit. Probably just do that one too. This part. Faster parts in particular are easier to get away with doing timing adjustments because generally if drummers are playing fast, they're probably not going to be playing perfectly to the grid. Again, I'll leave the kick on the beat to keep the rhythm locked into the grid. We'll listen to it one more time through. Okay, so I finished the velocities, removing any impossible parts to play, and adjusting the positions. So let's go ahead and listen to a before and after. So those are 3 techniques you can use to help improve the humanization and the realism of your programmed drum parts. If you enjoyed this video, remember to leave a like. Also remember to check out these other great videos on tips, tricks, and techniques on achieving great drum tracks and mixes. Thanks for watching guys, and we'll see you next time.